Welcome to the Amud of the Week. We are on the bottom of Mem Tes Amud Beis. The Gemara says, Omer Shmuel, La'olam al yotzi odom es atzmo min haklal. Shmuel says that a person should not remove himself from the klal. What does that mean? We have to look at Rashi. Rashi says, Afal pish ba'arba hu rashai lomer lishlosha baruchu. If there are four people who ate together, then the one who is leading the mezumin can say to the other three, Baruch Hu, as we learned in our Mishnah, Tov lo shiomer nevarech. But it's better if he includes himself in the klal, and he says, let's bench, as a klal. He includes himself, Val yotzi atzmo miklal hamvarchim, and he doesn't remove himself from the klal of those who are doing the bracha of Hashem. So Shmuel's saying, even though there is a way to say Baruch Hu, it's better to say Nevarech, and he should be included in the klal. To which the Gemara says, Tanan. This Mishnah said, Bishlosha vehu Omer Baruch Hu. The Mishnah implied that if there are four people who ate together, there are three plus the one who's leading the mezumin, then he should say Baruch Hu. So it seems that Baruch Hu is preferable. If you only have three, then you have to say Nevarech, and you have to say, we all have to bench together. But if there's four, then he can say to the other three, Baruch Hu. And Baruch Hu is preferable. So what is Shmuel saying? No, he shouldn't remove himself from the klal. Then obviously it's not preferable. So the Gemara answers, Ema af Baruch Hu. What the Mishnah says when it says that if there are four people, they can say Baruch Hu, it means even Baruch Hu. But really, it's we call Malkum Nevarech Adif. But really, it's preferable to say Nevarech, just like Shmuel said, and not be Motzi Atzmim Neklal. But the Mishnah is saying, if there are four, then you could also say Baruch Hu. The Amar Rav Ada Barava Amri Bei Rav, because Ravada Barava said in they said in the house of Rav Tanina that they taught Vav Nechlaken Ad Yud. So our Mishnah on the bottom of this Amud, which we're going to get to, says that you can't split up. Once you have a mezumin, you can't split up. But once you have six people, then you could split up into groups of three, up until you have Yud, until you have 10, and then you can't because now you're going to say Elokeinu. But once you have six, you can split up into two groups of three. If you say that it's better to say Nevarech, which you can do even if you only have three people, so you can split into six, can split into three, and you can still say Nevarech. So Mishum Hachi Nechlaken. So that explains why, if you only have six, you can split up into two groups of three, because you're saying Nevarech, which is preferable anyway. Ella Amrit Baruch Hu Adif. But if you say that Baruch Hu is better, then Amai Nechlaken. So how is it that you're able to split? If you only have six people, you can split into two groups of three and three. How can you do so? Because now you're losing out on the preferable Baruch Hu. So you see, Elalav Shmamina Nevarech Adif Shmamina. So you see that Nevarech is really the preferable one, and then we've proven it. Tanya Nami Hachi, we have a brisa that teaches us like this also. Bein Shamar Baruch Hu Bein Shamar Nevarech Ein Tov Sinosu Al Kach. Whether a person says Baruch Hu or he says Nevarech, we don't grab him on this. Hamid Behanedaktin, those that are very particular, Tovsin also al-kach, they would grab him on this. On what? On saying Baruch Hu, because Nevarech is the preferable. Umi birchosav shel adam. This is a new thing that we're going on to, grabbing people and being medaktik in their words. Umi birchosav shel adam nikar im talmid chacham hu im lav. From the way a person says brachos, it's clear whether the person is a talmid chacham or he is not. Keitzad, how does this work that you can tell from the brachos of a person whether he's a talmid chacham or not? Rabbi says, Uvetuvo hareza talmid chacham. If a person says, Baruch she'achal mishalo uvetuvo chayinu, that in his good we live, hareza talmid chacham, because it's saying in all the good of Hashem we live. Umituvo hareza bur. But if he says, and from the good of Hashem, that Hashem's only giving us a portion of his good, then he's a boor, an ignorant person. Amrle Abai l'Rav Dimi. So Abai said to Rav Dimi, I have a question on this. V'haksiv, it says in a pasuk, Umi birchosecha yuvarech as beis avdecha. From your brachos, we will bless the house of your servant. It says mi birchosecha, from your good, right? From your bracha. Well, we just said that you shouldn't say mi tuvo, you should say bituvo. So mi birchosecha seems to be against this. And the pasuk is saying it, so obviously you can't say that the pasuk is a boor. So the Gemara answers, Bisha'ela shiny. That is a request, where the request is different, because when you're asking for things, you shouldn't ask for so much. So you shouldn't ask for so much. You're saying, just give us a portion of your bracha, don't give us everything. So the Gemara asks on that too. B'she'ela nami dichsiv. Even by Yesha'ela, it also says, Harchev picha v'amal ehu. It says in Tehillim that David Melech says we want to be able to open our mouths wide and Hashem will fill it. So we are asking in a she'ela for a lot. You just said she'ela is different, that we don't ask for so much. And so even though when it comes to praising Hashem, we say bituvo and not mituvo, because we want to say that Hashem is giving us so much, not only some. And then we said, but by she'ela, it's different, and so there we can say mi birchasecha. But now you see that when you're asking for Hashem, we say harchav people, that we have to want to ask for a lot. So the Gemara answers, hahu b'divrei Torah ksiv. When it says harchav pich v'amal ehu, we're asking for Hashem to give us a bracha of ruchnius. When it comes to ruchnius, you can ask for a lot. When it comes to mi birchasecha yivarech beis avdecha, that is a request for Gashmias, and therefore we don't ask for so much, we only ask for a little. But Harchav Pichav Ameliu is a request for Ruchnias, and we could ask for a lot. Gemara continues. Tanya, it was taught, Rebbe Omer Bituvo Chayinu, Hareza Talmud Chacham. Rebbe said, if you say Bituvo Chayinu, that is Chayinu, that we live, that is a Talmud Chacham. But if you say Bituvo Chayim, that life is in his tuvo, harei bor, that is a bor, because the implication is that he's excluding himself from that who lives. B'tuvo Chayinu is saying it's more personal. We live through the goodness of Hashem, as opposed to B'tuvo Chayim, that in generically Chayim is in the goodness of Hashem. Nahar Bloi Masni Ivcha. The people in Nahar Bloi learned the opposite. They said that saying Chayinu, that we live through the good of Hashem, is actually minimizing it, and B'tuvo Chayim would be expanding it and saying it's more, that all life is because of Hashem, and so they taught the opposite. The less hilchasa can Nahar Bloi, but we don't paskin like that. Rabbi Yochanan. Yochanan said, one second. Nivarich shechal mishalo hareza Talmud Chacham. Rabbi Yochanan said, if you bless that we ate from his, and his refers to Hashem, that's Talmud Chacham. L'misha achalnu mishalo hareza bor. We say from whom we ate. That's a bor, because it sounds like you're praising the host rather than Hashem. Amar le Rav Acha b'rei de Rav Rav Ashi. So Rav Acha b'rei asked the question of Rav Ashi. He says, V'ha amrinon, we say in the Haggadah, immediately after the first two paragraphs of Hallel, we say this, Lafichach, L'misha asala v'seinu v'lanu es kol anisim ha'elu. We say to he who did for our forefathers and us all these nisim. So we are saying me. We just said that Rabbi Yochanan said you shouldn't say me. because that seems like it's you're praising the host and not Hashem, but we say Misha Anisim in the Haggadah, and it seems like we're not praising Hashem, we're praising somebody else. So Omer lay, so Rav Ashi answered back, Hasam Muchachamilsa. There it's obvious that we're talking about Hashem. Man Avid Nisi. Who does Nisim? Kudsha Barichu. Only Hashem does Nisim, so therefore we're not worried that it's going to be confusing and you're going to think that you're praising someone other than Hashem, because it's obvious from the fact that you're talking about Nisim. Kudsha Barichu. Omer of Yochanan, Rav Yochanan says, Baruch she'achalnu misherlo hareza talmid chacham. If you say we're praising Hashem that we ate from His goodness, that's Talmid Chacham. Al hamazon she'achalnu, but you say it's on the food that is hareza bur, because it sounds like you're praising the food rather than Hashem. Amar Rav Huna Berei de Rav Yoshua Lo Amron Ela Begimel Deleka Shem Shemayim. You're not going to think that you're talking about the food as in leaving Hashem out of the equation, except if you only have 3 and you didn't have a minion, because there's no Shem Hashem. Aval ba'asara di'ika Shem Shemayim, but once you get to 10 and you're saying Elokeinu, the Shem of Hashem, Mucha Milsa, then it's obvious that you're talking about Hashem and you're praising Hashem because you've mentioned Hashem, Kiditnan, and similarly we have in the Mishnah, which we said, we got to Inyan Shehu Mevarich Kach Onen Acharav Baruch Hashem Elokei Yisrael Elokei Atzvakos Yoshev Akrovim. You give all that different praise of Hashem, the God of Yisrael, who sits in the host, Hashem of the host who sits in the Kruvim, Al Hamazon She'achalnu, and then you end it with Al Hamazon She'achalnu. Well, are you going to confuse that? This is the Mishnah. On the previous Amud, the Mishnah says that you add Al Hamazon She'achalnu at the end, but aren't we concerned that you're going to be confused and think that it's talking about the food rather than Hashem? No, because you already gave all that description of Hashem and Elokei Yisrael, etc., etc. Okay, that is the end of the discussion of who's a Talmid Chacham and who is a Bor. You will have noticed that throughout that, I did not make any mentions of Bor B'Shus Rabim, Bor B'Shus Yachid. I didn't make any corny jokes because they were extremely corny. On the other hand, I would like to apologize on behalf of anyone named Daniel, because other jokes last week were just not funny either. As we continue, so the Mishnah, we're going to look at in more depth at the Mishnah on the previous Amud. The previous Amud, let's look back at the Mishnah. It said, Keitzad mezamnin b'shlosha omer nevarach b'shlosha v'hu omer barchu. When you have 3 people, letting aside the issue of nevarich or barchu, but when you have 3 people, you just say nevarich. Ba'asara omer nevarich Elokeinu, ba'asara v'hu omer barchu. Once you have 10, then you add in Elokeinu. And then the Mishnah says, Echad asar ve'echad asar riba, whether you have 10 or you have 10 times 10,000, which would be 100,000, it doesn't matter. Once you start Elokeinu, you don't make any modifications as you add more people. Then the Mishnah continues, B'meyahu omer nevarich Hashem Elokeinu, that when you get to 100, you do change it and you say Hashem Elokeinu. Then Be'alef, you add on Hashem Elokeinu Elokei Yisrael. Ribo, you add nevarich Hashem Elokeinu Elokei Yisrael Elokei Tzvakos Yoshev Akruvim. So first we said that once you reach 10, you don't make any further modifications, and then the Mishnah right away continues and says, yeah, you do make modifications when you get to 100, when you get to 1,000, when you get to 10,000. The end of the Mishnah is, Rabbi Yossi Aglili Omer Lefi Rav Akol Heim Avarchim. You change and you add on more praise of Hashem as you have more people. Shenemer b'makelos baruch Elokim Hashem mimikar Yisrael, and he brings a pasuk which we're going to discuss in a little detail in a few seconds. It says in the makelos, in the congregations, multiple, that's plural, in various types of congregations, baruch Elokim Hashem, you bless Hashem mimikar Yisrael, from the inception of Yisrael. That is Rabbi Yossi Glili's opinion, that you add on according to the amount, the size of the makela. Rabbi Akiva, Ma'aman Sinu B'Beis HaKnesses, Echad Merubim V'Echad Ma'utim, Omer Baruch Hu As Hashem. Rabbi Akiva says no, just like when you say Baruch Hu in Shul, you don't start adding things on when you have more people in the Shul. It's just Baruch Hu, that's it. So too, when you bench, you only say Nevarich, you add Elokeinu when you get to 10, and then no matter how many people more you have, you don't change it. Now I've just given it away, right? What the end of the Mishnah is, but those are the two opinions of Rabbi Yossi Glili, that you add on for more people. Rabbi Akiva says you don't. So we're going to go back and the Gemara continues, third wide line. Nuraman Aleph, Echad Asar ve'Echad Asar Ribo, that it's the same whether you have 10 or you have 100,000. Hagufa Kasha. So that this in and of itself is a Kasha. Amrut Echad Asar ve'Echad Asar Ribo. First it says that you don't make any modifications from 10 to 100,000. Alma ki hadadi ninu. So that you see that they're the same. V'hadar katani, and then the Mishnah right away continues, b'mea omer, b'elef omer, b'ribo omer, that you have different things that you add when you get to 1,000, 110, 1,000, and 10,000. Omer of Yosef lo kasha, he says no, it's not a kasha. Harab Yosef glili harab Akiva. The truth is that the person who's speaking in the Mishnah actually changes. So first it says, here's what you do when you have 3 and when you have 10, and then it doesn't change. That is the end of Rabbi Akiva speaking. Then Rabbi Yossi Glili starts talking, and he's the one who starts saying when you get to 100, when you get to 1,000, when you get to 10,000. So, the Tanan, because we learned in the end of the Mishnah, Rabbi Yossi Glili Omer Lefi Rova Kol Heim Avarchim. That according to the number, that's how you add on bracha. Shenever b'makelos baruch Elokim, because in various congregations, that's how you bless Hashem. Omer B'kiva Ma'aman Sinu B'Beis HaKnesses. He says no, just like Baruch Hu, you don't add on. Once you get to 10, it stays the same. So Rabbi Kiva, Hai Krod Rabbi Yossi Glili Mai Avid Le. What does so if Rabbi Yossi Glili has a pasuk of makelos that he uses to teach you out that you add on praise of Hashem the more people you have, and Rabbi Kiva doesn't agree that you add on. He says once you get to 10, you don't make any further modifications. Then what does Rabbi Kiva do with that pasuk that Rabbi Yossi Glili uses as his source for modification? So Gemara says, "Mi boile likedetanya." So Rabbi Akiva uses that pasuk of Makelos Baruch Elokim, Mi Hashem Mikor Chayim. What Mimikar Yisrael? What does he use it for? Likedetanya, he uses it for this brisa. Haru Meir Omer Minayin Shafilu Uborin Shibamei Iman Omer Shiralayam. From where do you know that even fetuses or feti, right? It should be feti. Feti in the wombs of their mothers said Shira on the Yam Suf. Where do you know that from? Shenemar b'makelos baruch Elokim Hashem mimikor Yisrael. Because of this pasuk where it says that the congregations blessed Hashem mimikor Yisrael. The makor, the source, is when kids are still in the womb of their mother. So therefore, you see that even the fidai saying Shira, and you learn it out from this pasuk. So that's what Rabbi Akiva uses the pasuk for, and he does not have it available to teach you that you add on praise the larger the congregation. V'idach, what does Rabbi Yossi Glili, where does he know that even the feti saying Shira, if he can't learn it from B'makelos Baruch Elokim Hashem Mikor Yisrael, because he uses that for benching? V'idach, Mimikor Nafka, he says, no, you could learn both things out. B'makelos teaches you that there are various sized congregations, and then the word of Mikor teaches you that feti said Shira. You can learn both things out from the same pasuk, whereas Rabbi Akiva does not. Omar Rabba, halacha Rabbi Akiva. Rabba said the halacha is like Rabbi Akiva, that once you get to 10, you say Elokeinu, and then you do not further modify. Ravina of Rav Chama bar Buzi ikloy l'bei reish galusa. Ravina and Rav Chama bar Buzi visited the reish galusa, the head of exile. He was the one in Bavel, like the Kollel in Bavel. Kam Rav Chama v'kama hader abei mea. So it came time for benching, and Rav Chama got up and he started looking around to find 100 people to all bench together. Omer le Ravina lo tzarchas. Ravina said to him, you don't need to do this. Hachi Amar Rava Halacha Karbi Akiva. He said, you don't need to find 100. We know that there are 10. We know that we're going to say Elokeinu, and we don't paskin like Rabbi Yosei Glili that you would add on when you have 100. We paskin like Rabbi Akiva that you don't make any more further modifications after 10. So stop looking around for 100 people. Amar Rava Ki Achlinun Rifta Beish Reish Galusa. This is somewhat unrelated. Rava said when we would eat bread at the home of the Reish Galusa, Mivarchinan Gimel Gimel, we would bench in little groups of three. Three. We'll leave, so, and we wouldn't wait for the Reish Galusa to bench in with everybody together. So the Gemara says, V'livrachu Yud. Why wouldn't they split up into groups of 10 so that they could say Elokeinu? Why would they only split up into groups of 3? Shama Reish Galusa ve'ikbid, because if they would have 10, then that would make more noise, 10 people all answering, and the Reish Galusa would hear it, and he would be offended that they're benching by them in a little group, not waiting for him. Right, so if that's the case, that he was offended by them breaking off and benching separately, v'nifku b'berchasa de Reish Galusa, then why didn't they all bench together with the bracha of the Reish Galusa? Aidi avshu kuli alma lo sham'i, because there were so many people there, since it was so noisy, they wouldn't be able to hear the Reish Galusa benching, and that's why they had to break off into little groups. But they kept their groups minimized to 3, because if they would bench in 10s, then the Reish Galusa would hear it, and he would be offended. Omar Rabba says, Tosfa'a Hani, Rabba Tosfa'a, that's his name. Hani Gimel Dekarchi Rifta Bahade Hadadi. If there were 3 that were eating a loaf of bread together, karchi from loaf, they were eating bread together. V'kadim chad minahu barich l'daite, and one of them preceded, and he benched himself. Inun nafkin bezimun didei. So the 2 remaining ones could still make him a zimun using that 3rd one, even though he already benched. He can answer their zimun, and they could still be yotzei zimun with him. Ihu lo nafik bid zimun didhu. But he, the one who already benched, he already blew it for himself. Since he already benched, he no longer has a chiyuv of mizumin, and he's not yotzei. Even though he can help them to be mashlim the mizumin, he is not fulfilling the mitzvah of zimun because he already benched. Lefi she'ein zimun mafreya, and you can't do the zimun after you already benched, out of order. Rabbi Shmuel Omer, Rabbi Shmuel is the last part of the Mishnah. Rabbi Shmuel, he says, Omer Baruch Hu es Hashem HaMavorach. He is just going on, Rabbi Akiva said, just like in Shul, when you say Baruch Hu, you don't make any changes, no matter how many people, you always say Baruch Hu es Hashem. And he stopped there. Rabbi Shmuel is not arguing with him in principle. All he's doing is saying, Baruch Hu es Hashem HaMavorach. We add that one word, the HaMavorach, to the end of Baruch Hu. We don't just say Baruch Hu es Hashem, we say Baruch Hu es Hashem HaMavorach. Rafram bar Papa iklol lebei kanishta da'abi givar. Rafram bar Papa went and visited the shul of Abi Givar. Kam krab b'sifrei, got up and he was reading from the Torah. Va'omor Baruch Hu es Hashem. So before he read the brachos, he said Baruch Hu es Hashem v'ishtik, and he was quiet. V'lo omar hamavarach, he didn't say mavarach. Avshu kuli alma, so everybody in the shul yelled out Baruch Hu es Hashem hamavarach. They yelled out and they said hamavarach. They didn't stop with just what he said, Baruch Hu es Hashem. They said hamavarach. Omar Rava pasya ukma. So Rava said, you're a black cauldron, like a black pot. You're so oblivious that you let your clothing get dirty. You're not even aware of what's going on. The Hari Plunk to Lamalach. Why are you getting into the Machlokas? There's a Machlokas of whether you say Hamavarach or not. Why are you entering into this Machlokas and not saying Hamavarach? Va'od ha nohug alma Rabbi Shmuel. And also, the whole world is knowing like Rabbi Shmuel, aside from the fact that you're getting involved in a Machlokas, but you're doing unlike what everybody does. You should have done like everybody. That is the end of the Gemara. We will now read the Mishnah at the bottom of Nun Amud Aleph. Gimel she'achlu ka'achas einen rishayim lechalek. If 3 people ate together, they're not allowed to bench separately. They have a chiyuv of mezumin, v'chein daled, v'chein chamisha, and similarly 4 and 5, they're not allowed. Nobody's allowed to break off because they all have a chiyuv of zimun. Vav nechlakin, but 6 can split up, as we mentioned before. They can split it in 2 groups of 3, and they can still make a zimun. Everybody can have a mezumin. Ad asara, that's only true up until 10 that you can split up. But be'asara, once you have 10, you can't you can't split up because now you're saying Elokeinu. And if you would split up, you would lose that ad chaf until you have 20, and then you could split into 2 groups of 10. If there are 2 groups of people eating at 2 different tables in the same house, when some of the people in the one group can see some of the people from the other group, so they can all bench in one big mizumin. But if nobody from one group can see anybody from the other group, then they each make their own mizumin. This seemingly has nothing to do with the previous part of the Mishnah. You don't make a bracha on wine until you have diluted it with water. Talking about the wine at that time, in the time of the Mishnah, which was extremely strong. And so therefore, Rabbi Eliezer says that you can't make a bracha on it because it's not even drinkable unless you dilute it. Chachamim say you can make a bracha even though it's not dilute. And the Gemara will explain the reason for the Chachamim's opinion. That concludes this week's Amud.